We're going to straighten them out one by one. It's a war from within. Everybody who wants to see an end to the violence and destruction should be united in calling for Hamas to accept the extremely fair proposal.
If Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, then Israel will finish the job the easy way, or it can be done the hard way.
This is the second time in memory that President Trump has been in the room with a world leader with a setup like this one and not taken questions.
We laid out to the president some of the consequences of what's happening in healthcare. By the way, he looked, I think he heard about them for the first time.
Can you respond to what Senator Schumer said, that there were aspects about health care ending for certain people that the president was learning about for the first time in that meeting? And was the president open to a deal on the ACA subsidies?
Well, I'm highly skeptical that the president was learning about it for the first time. We want to work across the aisle to make sure that people have access to good health care. We are not going to let Democrats shut down the government.
Leader Thune, where is the common ground on the ACA subsidies, do you think?
We have that conversation after the government stays open.
We should use some of these dangerous cities run by the radical left Democrats as training grounds for our military.
He's using Americans as pawns. Democrats do not want a shutdown.
A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want. They'd be Democrat things.
We're just a couple hours away from the deadline for government funding, and right now White House officials are bracing for the potential for a government shutdown. President Trump has spent the day suggesting that actually a government shutdown could be advantageous, using this moment to fire federal workers or cut programs. We are now 3 hours away from the federal government shutting down with no last-minute deal in sight. Do you believe the government's going to shut down in 3 hours from now?
I think it is inevitable now. It's a very reckless decision that Chuck Schumer has made. The Democrats have taken the last vote. They voted it down once again.
Is your argument tonight that fighting for extending these subsidies is worth shutting the government down?
If we allow the Republicans to simply not negotiate and to throw 15 million people off of health care, that will cause even more harm.
The American people's government exists for the American people. That's why we're fighting to reopen the government, and unfortunately the Democrats are fighting to shut it down for the benefit of illegal aliens.
Republicans have consistently shut the government down. We are ready to sit down now to reopen the government.
We are now more than 20 hours into the government shutdown, and neither side shows any signs of backing down. What we've seen, though, from the White House is not silence. They're actually using all of their government websites to say this is Democrats pushing this shutdown. Do you think that they're being more effective in their messaging in terms of putting this blame on Democrats?
I don't think that they're being more effective. I think that they are being more illegal. We are not allowed to politic on official sites, period.
If they keep the government closed, it's going to get more and more painful. Democrats are the ones who have decided to inflict the pain, not the president.
What's happening behind the scenes could be just as key as what they are saying publicly. Who made the final call to cancel these projects, these grants? Was this tied to the government shutting down?
Now, our decisions have been made over the last few months. A team of 7 or 8 people have evaluated over 2,400 projects just on business conditions, whether it makes sense for the American taxpayers or not. These decisions are made all in the Energy Department, all based on facts.
As the two of you were watching this, our legal experts, do you think that the judge made a good call here?
I think the sentence, when you actually consider what Sean Combs was convicted of by the jury, I think the sentence was harsh. I think it was within the range of reason, but harsh. But to me, the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is that the Southern District of New York, my old office, overreached. They overreached at every step of this case. They overcharged it, and that's not an opinion anymore. The jury rejected the 3 top charges. And again, that's not just after the fact. I think both of us are on record at the time saying it was overcharged. They overtried the case. There's no reason a 1-defendant, 3-victim case needs to take 6 weeks by 6 prosecutors. I tried a case once with 5 defendants on trial at once, at least 20 victims. I did it with 1 other prosecutor, same amount of time. They overtried it. And with their sentencing request of 11 years, that's ridiculous.
What do you mean they overtried it? Like they took too long?
They took too long. They put too many people on it. They let in too many extraneous details. They should have just cut right to, we used to say thin to win. Get right to it. That's it. Instead, there was too much, too much detail that did not go to the heart of the case. And finally, the 11-year sentencing request was ridiculous, embarrassing, and the judge went most of the way, not all the way, but much closer to the defense request. Then 11 years, and again, for being convicted of interstate prostitution, that's a ridiculous request, and it backfired.
Joey, what was your takeaway?
So people will ask, hey, what about this particular sentence? If you look at this on balance and put it in perspective, he is a big winner today. Let me explain why. When we started out this trial with regard to the racketeering charges, he's running a criminal enterprise, he was facing life in jail. In addition to life in jail, which his liberty interest would have been gone, he was facing the forfeiture of all of his assets. Yep. Now, right, he beats the charges, 3 of them at least, and he gets sentenced now on the other 2, transportation for prostitution. So now you're saying, well, what's going to happen now? You have the prosecutors that have asked for 11 years. I agree with Ellie. That was way overreach, just as the case was way overreach.
What do you think would have been a better
I think you have to stick with the guidelines. So just to be clear, Caitlin, you have these federal guidelines, and what they are is they're just advisory, and they exist so that you have some uniformity in sentencing. You don't want disparate sentences. One defendant gets 10, another gets 5. No, you have guidelines so it's somewhat even. They try to go outside of the guidelines to bring in all types of issues for which the jury has made a decision, and the jury said, no, we're not convicting on that. So why are you going and suggesting that all of this conduct for what the jury repudiated, you want to include it in the sentence? That's not appropriate. Last point. You have the United States Department of Probation. They also issue a recommendation. Their recommendation, Caitlin, was anywhere from, 5 to 7 years. Judge went below that and said, well, I'm not going to give you the 14 months, but I'm going to add on more time, which was 4 years. So if you look at it on balance from what he came into this case with, facing his life, the destruction of his life, to now doing 4 years and $500,000 in payment, $500,000, he was facing $1 billion in loss because of the forfeiture. So call it what you want. This is a tremendous win. And to be clear, when I say win, there are no winners. There are victims here who are reeling. We get that. Certainly his family is in a problem place. They want him home. But at the end of the day, from what the prosecutors started to where they got, this is a tremendous victory for his team, even if his defense lawyers are really unhappy, and so is he.